Good morning from New York. Healing our minds and societies from slavery. Juneteenth reflections. Wow, that's a lot, huh? Yeah. Let's see if my small mind can tackle this subject. Well, somebody said one time that we all love slaves. Geez, isn't it great to have somebody work for you for nothing? Yeah, if that's the definition of slavery, well, there isn't a lot of that going on now. But how about working people for far less than they need to, to do well and thrive? Yeah, that's going on around the world. It seems that, it has some relationships to, ape-like behaviors. Let's call it what it is. Where one group of apes splits off from another group. They're all related, but the other group that split off and is in another territory becomes jealous of the territory where they came from. They want it back. Well, they can't share. Gosh, something that we're supposed to learn in kindergarten. Good luck, huh? So they have a violent takeover of that territory. And, geez, doesn't that sound a lot like humans? I'm quite sure that Dr. Sapolsky would say, the great biologist, that indeed it does. He considers us a form of apes. It's hard to argue against that. Anyway, so here we are, still suffering. Juneteenth was a liberation from people selling your mother in front of your eyes, like a piece of property. That was horrendous, unbelievable. Even in the animal kingdom, though, you see ants that have enslaved, forget what it was, another insect form to work for them. Believe it or not, yeah. Okay, am I being Trump-like here? I don't have my sources lined up in my head, but believe me, it exists in the insect population, even if that was not a completely accurate statement. Yeah, wouldn't want to act like Trump, would we? So anyhow, what do we do about it? Is it in our minds? Yeah, I think so. We can get used to there's some people who don't go in, they don't tip a waitress, for instance. People, I guess they get used to that, you know, having a servant. Servant, another S word, you know? Yeah. Well, we could cure that in our minds and in society if we stopped using words like worker and servant and things like that, and thought of other people who provide a service for us as a trading partner. And those trading partners should have the right to organize. So if they don't, then they become more of a servant, don't they? You know, just an extra piece of office equipment. Yeah. What is the cost of this office equipment? What is the cost of this slave? This servant? Yeah, and that's how they refer to it, as a cost to business. Are you a cost to business? Or are you a trading partner? That's a question that should be being addressed. So, I'm under the impression that this goes into a lack of empathy, which, as you know, this channel is about expanding empathy and awareness. If you're empathetic and aware of another person, they become a trading partner, don't they? When you're trading, they are not your servant, they are not your slave. And if they feel like that, and if they are, in fact, shame on you. Oh, I have lots of servants who take care of my expensive home. Oh, you have trading partners that you underpay, probably, to enjoy your expensive home. Yeah, a little empathy and awareness makes us all trading partners in terms of the exchange of goods and services. And, yeah. So, does that go to healing of the mind? Yes, I think it does. Because let's talk about what the healing of the mind is about. It's about unlearning helplessness in terms of giving and receiving love, which means helplessness around needs and feelings brought on by trauma, which is something that needs to heal. Yeah. And not to go too far into the disease model, it's a product of a lack of the ability to exercise your feelings. Something that, like some things that physical exercise can heal. Exercising your feelings can be healing. And we don't do that. One thing that would really help us to do that a lot would be compassion. And that's hard to feel that over the internet or over I was going to pull up my problem. Yes, over a phone. We're having problems with that. We don't connect anymore. How can you hurt someone unless you're damaged? Well, out of ignorance, lack of awareness. She didn't know I was doing that to you. Okay. But on the other hand, it's a lack of empathy as well. How can you bully somebody if you're having empathy for that person? But healing of the mind, let's go back to that. If you are lacking empathy for yourself, if your feelings are unexercised, if your ability to feel therefore is impaired, if you can't feel your needs yourself, you're going to look for something symbolic to replace that. You know, something that happens when you're damaged by trauma is that your needs become your real needs at that time. Encounter helplessness. That's an anxiety, pain that's extreme. The brain saves you from being in hyper mode. You know, your heart rate's up, everything's, you know, you're in a panic. It saves you by giving you something symbolic that seems more attainable. It does two things to you. When you're damaged like that, you're hurting. Hurting people are more selfish, more self-concerned, not so empathetic with others, not particularly empathetic with themselves. So, what goes around comes around. When you are unkind to yourself because of trauma, unknowingly, it's easy to be unkind to other people. It's easier to see them as less than a trading partner or a friend. So, this has connections to emotional intelligence, for instance, which I've been told in layman's terms is about self-awareness, which I think comes from creative empathy, and you know, a fuller self-awareness, and self-control, which comes from objective empathy. So, creative empathy, self-awareness, self-control, objective awareness, and they say empathy. That's one of the three: self-controlled, self-awareness, and empathy. And where they slide in the word empathy, I would say that's about compassionate empathy. Because there is a kind of empathy. One baby cries, they all cry. You know, they're not really understanding and feeling for the other baby. They're just, you know, the drama has them, kind of. So probably not good for a baby to be around lots of other babies. So when any one of them cry, they're all hurting from it. Anyway, that's something to think about, something to study. Neil deGrasse Tyson be all up in that, right? How do we study? How do we make a study on that? So, what I'm saying is that when you heal your mind, when you unlearn helplessness to feel by exercising your feelings, waking them up, and when you are exercising your feelings with different approaches, there's 6 in Echo Mind version of inner mind communication. When you exercise your feelings in various ways, you unlearn the helplessness to feel your needs in the first place, even in that time, which is like an imprint in you, when you were helpless. So you feel you have to get through that helplessness and get to the feeling that was blocked, along with the need. And then the symbolic falls away. You don't need it anymore because you heal your mind. And that makes you less selfish and more empathetic with other people, and more able to exercise your advanced empathies, creative and compassionate and objective, which helps your emotional intelligence. Okay. And helps to heal slavery as a disease in your mind and in society. It's behind every fight for freedom. So is it revolutionary, this healing of the mind? You bet it is. It's a feeling revolution where we are gaining greater empathy and greater awareness and putting away slavery, servile positions, getting rid of that. Everybody's a trading partner. Everybody deserves respect, compassion, understanding, and a mind that can see things from different perspectives. These are different ways of loving. If you don't love yourself, in brief, it's hard to love other people, and then it's easy to be very selfish and just feel all the good that happens when you've got a servant, someone who's just a little less. Are you content to be a little less? When I'm in the hospital, I like to make occasionally, thanks all around to the people who are helping me, They're trading partners, and they have lives of their own. We should be sensitive to that, and they should be recognized and honored. There are people who clean up the hospital. I like to thank them. They're not just this person walking around cleaning up that go unnoticed. Recognize them. Be aware. Thank them. They have just probably done work that made sure you did not go into the hospital and get something deadly while there. Yeah, they're heroes. So are garbage collectors. They're heroes, just like firefighters and the police and so many others. Thank them. They're heroes. And they have their own lives, their own dramas to deal with, and take that into account. And this all goes down to how we greet one another. And I like the word, or it's not really a word, it's a statement. Namaste. And I like that. In a lot of Buddhism and Hinduism, there's this bow that honors the other person, but you're also honoring yourself. Namaste is in modern terminologies, is what Carl Sagan said. We are the universe, knowing itself. If that doesn't fill you with wonder and awe, you're out of touch with your feelings. You need to exercise them more. And so, considering that, I would like to help the love flow along with my, by now, traditional to me, Irish blessing, in which I am honoring you, myself, and all things. That's the love flow. First the blessing, then the honor. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain falls soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand, or her hand, or its hand, however you see a source of all love. It's a name for that, by the way. Ishtadevata. We'll talk about that another day. Anyway, by the way, Joe Biden is the most empathetic and aware of your choices in the upcoming election. And spirituality is about also having leaders who are more empathetic and aware. So you consider that, and remember that democracy is at stake, and that democracy is something that elevates everyone from being servile to being trading partners. And that's fair trade, which is the only kind of free trade, truly free. So, now the honor. An honor that goes to you and to all of us. Knowers the universe, knowing itself. We are together, and in a sense, we are the universe, knowing itself, and therefore together one. Namaste.